Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Long Pamai. In our last video, we learned how to extend the VBE editor by adding a custom menu with events and also to automatically insert a line of code snippets using a clipboard API. To continue that, in this short video, I'll demonstrate how to dynamically construct your VBA code on runtime and insert it into a current module. Okay, so before we begin, if you haven't, please do not forget to subscribe for latest updates and to support the channel. Okay, before we continue, let me give a quick recap of what we have learned in our prior videos. So this is the code that creates a control in the insert menu, as you can see here. And here is the insert. And for example, if you want to add it in the bar here itself, you don't have to, like include this. You can run this and it will get, added here. This can be a menu and with subcontrols and everything, yeah? If this does not look good, maybe we can put 998 for a button here. And so basically we've added a control here, and the important thing here is that we have created a class object to handle the the events, and this is the method we're calling. Okay, so here we are creating a control, and then we're linking this this method here with the command bar control, yeah. And then we are storing it here so that we can, once we do the cleanup of the memory, we can delete it later. That's from the collection. And then one other thing, we pass the parameter, basically the address from where we want to pick the code. So once this button is clicked, it's gonna go here. This event is gonna fire, and then it's gonna pick up, what should be the parameter. This stores a range address, and then on action, it runs the code. And then once the code is fired, it stores in the clipboard, it stores whatever the code is there in the address. So for example, it'll pick up this particular code in this example, and it does a control V wherever the cursor is at that point of time. Yeah. So let me continue from here. We'll insert a new module. Let's call this sub new add new sub or something like that. Yeah. Let's make this the function so we can call multiple times. Okay, so a couple of things. First, we will need to grab where the the current module is at the moment, where the cursor is placed at that point of time, so that we can directly insert the code there itself. Instead of using a control V, we're gonna identify the cursor location and then we're gonna insert the code. Okay, so first we will need to know where the current module is. So for that, we can use application project. Some of these prerequisites which we have learned in our prior videos, so don't forget that you need to set that up, otherwise it's not gonna work. Okay, so it says this module 3. So if I go in here and run this code, it returns the name of the current cursor. Okay, so we'll get this, and first we'll say theme code module. Let's call this code module object as code module. Okay, and then it's gonna be this. And then I think this is just gonna be the name. Let's call this current module. So this is the name of the current module. And then we'll set up the object. This will be active workbook, so that once we save this as an add-in, it will run in any workbook that you're working on, instead of this will be at the backend, and then it will insert a code in the project that you're working on. Okay, so active workbook dot vb project dot vb components, and then this is where we'll specify the module that we want to work with, and then we'll say this is code module. And yeah, and now to get the cursor location, there's a method called get selection. So for example, if I run this now, application.vb. if got pane dot um, get selection. Here you can you'll be able to arrive at like all these variables. So let's say that this is A, B, C, and D. Yeah. So this will return us, like the where the cursor is at that point of time. So I'm gonna do this dim A as long. Okay, this symbolizes long if you're not familiar. Okay, so that will be our variables. So as soon as this code is executed till here, if I press F5, code module, give me 1 second. This is gonna be a string. So if I F8, so it says it's at 12. Okay. Now if I run by placing my cursor here, I can really do that because now let's say that I put it here in 11, and if I rerun this code now, it's gonna change because I'm doing F8. But anyways, later on when we implement this, it's gonna be okay. So this will return us the cursor location at that particular time when you click the button, for example. Let's say I click here and my cursor is here and click the button, it's gonna return 18 as you can see here, yeah? Okay, now let's continue. So from here we'll get, let's say dim, let's call this X line, that will represent the line as long. And then let's say that we want to insert it. If you want to insert right where it is selected, you can put A, or +1 should be okay. And then first let's construct a simple code. Let's say we want to insert 5-6 lines of data. So I'll say dim code snippets, and this can be 1 to 6, yeah. And then so let's say that we want to insert a sub procedure every time we click this button dynamically, and then construct the error handling and everything. Okay, so I'll just let's say I'll make this quickly. Then I'll just say hello world. Instead of function, I'll make it sub, and then I can say on error, go to error. Let's make it standard error handler, and then we'll do exit sub error handler location, and then we'll say message box error info. Let's say that we want to generate this code automatically here. First, let me construct it here. Error dot number, and then let's say error dot description, and maybe we will the description. Just close this for now. And if you want to include where the error happened, so we can also say source code or something like that. And here we can specify what will be our shortcode. So for now, I'll just hard code as hello world. And then this can be passed as critical unexpected error, something like that. Yeah. So let's say that we want to construct a code like this. So some of the variables here will be, this will be dynamic, and as well as this, yeah. So I'm gonna copy this code. For now, I'll just put it in this fashion. Okay, so snippet 1 is gonna be this. Similarly, this, and this. For this, we will have to reconstruct a bit because there are, like double quotes there. It's not gonna be good. Okay, 1 to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the easiest way will be to have this kind of code in the spreadsheet, and then you read it from there by dynamically passing the value. But I'll show you this example so that it gives you some, like some other ideas. Okay. So let me do this. Let me replace all the this with this symbol. Okay, and let me first put it here like this so that it does not error. And to return this, we can replace it back by using a replace function. So replace, and then this will be the string we want to replace. And we want to replace this back with character 34. Okay, so this hello world needs to be updated, but I'm sure you already know, but quickly. So 34, if you type in here and you get the code, this will give you 34. Okay, that's how you arrive at that. Okay, so now instead of hello world here, we can, so basically we're gonna do this later like this, which will return us this syntax, yeah. And then instead of hello world, this is gonna be the code. So maybe we'll get as program code name or something. Code name as string. So this will become dynamic here. It will automatically choose the name that you input. Maybe we'll include it via input box so that it pops up on top of this VBE editor. And this will also go here. Now let me try and do this. So it's returning us this with the this not needed. Okay, so if I try and put the code here, the syntax is fine. Okay, so I'll get rid of this. Now, so I think this should be good. Now we have constructed the code that we want to insert, line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we can start inserting the code. Um, Now we'll start looping from like lower bound to upper bound of this particular array, and we're gonna insert into this particular module. Okay, so with this module dot insert line, and then this is where the line comes in, and then we can specify the code snippet, whatever code snippet goes in that line. So we'll put the index here. We'll need to construct that first. With this, for I is equal to lower bound of this to u bound of this, and next I. So x line is what we got initially. Now we want to increment it every time it's inserted. Okay. Now we'll declare I as well. I is going to be long. Okay. Just using this syntax today so that once you see in the future, you are aware of that. Okay, so this will loop through from like lower bound, which is 1 to 6. So once you change this, it's gonna automatically pick up this the index. It's gonna insert a code, and this is where this particular code gets printed, okay. And then we've cleared the memory down here, and if any error happens, we want to trap it, so we can say on error, go to error like that, and here exit function, and we can use this code here. Okay, so we can give it a shot now. Before that, maybe we can have one more small code. Um, let's call this at execute code. Temp one, something like that, or maybe test. And here we can bring up the input box team x as x spine. X will be input box, and or you can also do application dot input box. Okay, and then here we'll put a prompt. Um, input the procedure, so procedure, something like that, and we can specify um, input needed, something like that. If I run this, input needed, input the name of the sub procedure. Yeah. Okay, so once this is done, we'll call this code, and the name of the code is going to be whatever the user inputs. Now we can give this a try. So I'm going to go back to the prior code. Instead of calling the insert code, which was this earlier, I'll put this one here, yeah? And I'm gonna rerun this code so that it gets refreshed. Okay, so this is our new one. If I go in here, because when you don't save this as add-in, sometimes it creates issues. So I'm gonna redo it one more time. A string, and then I think this should be fine. Oh, it's inserted there. Okay. Let me delete and do again. Okay, so let's call this hello world. Okay, so inserted the hello world with the error handler, and then the error handler has this name. Yeah, so we'll try this again now. Let me refresh this. This will not happen if you save this as an add-in. Okay, so let's call this export data or something. Okay, so the name of the code automatically gets picked up here like that. Okay, so over the weekend I will, like walk more in detail on how to publish this as an add-in, or you can simply save as Excel as Excel AM, Excel A. If you are in Access, you can save as A double C D E, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I need to check that, but I will walk you through in detail over the weekend how to publish this as an add-in. Um, and then if you want this to be automatically created every time it loads up, you simply have to copy this code into this workbook object or class, yeah, and then add it here like that in that fashion. So every time it loads up, it automatically do that for you. Okay, so guys, that's gonna be all for this video. I hope you found it informative and helpful. Do not forget to give a thumbs up and let me know if it is helpful. If you have any suggestions, also please do let me know. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye bye.